We're going to keep things moving here on Box to Row. We're joined by a gentleman, as a matter of fact, who's in his 31st season at Utah, his 20th as the head football coach. 67% winning percentage. Two-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year. The Utes were 8-5 on last season. Opened the season on August the 29th against Southern Utah. Kyle Whittingham, the head coach of the Utes, joins us here on Box to Row. Coach Whittingham, welcome back to the program.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. It's been a couple of years. I got to start here. Does it feel like it's been 31 seasons, 20 as the head coach there at Utah?
In some ways, yes, but in other ways, absolutely not. It's been a heck of a ride since I've got it, or since I arrived at Utah 31 years ago. We've been in 4 different conferences, so I've seen a lot of transition, had new challenges, new opportunities, but in a way, it's been the blink of an eye, and in the way, it's been an eternity. So it's been a great journey, though.
The Utes, a lot of transition when you talk about college football, in particular, the expansion of the college football playoffs. Of course, the Utes now joining the Big 12. First of all, your thoughts and speak to some of the opportunities that the Big 12 offer to Utah.
Well, first of all, it's great to be in a conference. When the Pac-12 dissolved, there was a lot of teams that weren't sure what their fate was going to be, and we're elated to have landed in the Big 12. We're also very excited about the new playoff format that the winners of the P4 conferences are automatic qualifiers, and that's something that has really generated a lot of excitement and enthusiasm in our program. And so we're looking forward to the new challenges and new opportunities.
Yeah, and then. So you were in favor. You're good. You were in favor, and you've seen a lot. 20 years as the head coach, in favor of the college football playoff expansion.
100%, and I think it needs to go to 16 sooner rather than later. And I think when everyone sees how well received it is and how exciting it is, I think we'll get to 16 in pretty short order.
Kyle Whittingham, again in his 20th season as the head football coach at Utah, he joins us here on Box to Row. Coach Whittingham, what are some of the similarities, I would say, and then also some of the differences between making a move from a conference, as you did back in 2011, from the MWC to the Pac-12, and now from the Pac-12 to the Big 12?
Well, it's when you went from the Mountain West Conference to the Pac-12, we were obviously coming from G5 status up to P5 status, and we knew there'd be a learning curve and a facilities curve and a recruiting curve and all the above. And so it was a ramp up of sorts, I guess you could say, when we made that move from G5 to P5. Now this is a little bit different. We're going across. It's more of a lateral move in a sense, in that we're going P5 to, I guess, what is P4 now. But we're much more equipped right now moving into this conference than we were going from Mountain West to Pac-12. We had a lot of work to do when we got into the Pac-12 in all those areas I mentioned. And not that we have all the answers right now, or we got all our problems solved, but we're in a pretty good spot right now to compete in this new conference right away.
I think you bring up a good point going back a little bit in terms of you're happy to be in a conference. The Pac-12 is, in essence, disbanded. So that said, has it or how has now being in the Big 12 affected recruiting?
Not a whole lot, other than our footprint has changed a little bit. We've gravitated more to Texas and further east, whereas before we were more concentrated in California and out west. But with the vast majority of the teams being east of us, that's precipitated a little bit of a change in our strategy in that regard, as far as manpower, shifting it to those other states. And so other than that, not a lot different. We're coming up against a lot of the same schools as far as competing for the players. And so that's where we're at.
Of course, Kyle Whittingham, again in his 20th season as the head football coach at Utah, joins us here on the program. Sure, we're going to talk about Cameron Rising. You have him back at the quarterback. I want to start here because you had two, and I think that's interesting, the dynamic of changing conferences. And you were able to have two players on the all Pac-12 team, all Big 12 team. And I want to start with your tight end, Brant Keithy. Speak to him and really his progression at his time through his time in your program.
Yeah, he's been an outstanding player for us. Recruited him out of Texas. He was actually a running back in high school, a terrific running back, rushed for a bunch of yards. But we projected him as a hybrid type tight end, more of an H-back, a mover that is able to play almost like a tight end / fullback position. But he made a great transition to that new role. And he's not the biggest kid, 6'2.5", maybe 6'3", and about 230 pounds. So he's not your prototypical inline tight end, but boy, is he a weapon. And he's so versatile. We can split him out, which we do a bunch of the time, and get him mismatched on linebackers and safeties. And that's where his value really comes into play.
I know that was tough for your team. The loss, of course, in Cameron Rising, your quarterback going back to 2022 in the bowl game. He's back. Now, speak to what he's going to. He's a captain. What he's going to bring, and what you've seen from him in the offseason, particularly in the spring, coming off that injury, going back to 2022.
Yeah, the importance of Cam Rising to this football team cannot be overstated. He is. You mentioned he's a captain. He's actually the captain of the captains. I mean, he is the leader of this football team without question. He sets the standard, and he is a great. Has that great ability to make those around him better. And that's really what, if you can get that in a quarterback where he's got that it factor, where he can make the supporting cast play above their, punching above their weight, then that's something that is really going to help your football team. But he has been a terrific leader for us ever since he stepped on campus, and to get him back in that starting quarterback role for us is huge.
And you did a lot of running of the football, obviously, on last year. Your leading rusher is not with you anymore, but you've got some guys coming back. Speak to, sort of that running back room and how they will, in fact, aid Cam a bit in the process of him coming back.
Yeah, typically in years past, we've had RB1 identified through spring ball, and we knew who that bell cow back was going to be. This year's a little bit different. We haven't had anybody really step to the forefront. We've got 2 or 3 guys that we think are going to really be good, and if we end up getting the running production by committee rather than by one guy, that's fine as long as we get it. Mekhi Bernard right now is probably the lead candidate, right, to be the leading carrier for us this year. He's also very versatile. He can run routes out of the backfield. You can split him out. He's got a very good skill set for the wide receiver stuff. But he's a guy that is in the mix. Mike Mitchell, a guy that redshirted last year. He'll be a freshman this year, a redshirt freshman. He's more of a big body back. He's 6'2", about 220 pounds. So he's a guy that we think could be in the mix as well. Jalen Glover out of Florida. This will be his 3rd year in the program. Has been productive for us. Then we got a couple other 2 or 3 young kids, and so we'll see how it shakes out. Excuse me, but like I said, it's at this point in time, we don't know if we're going to have a guy that is going to carry the ball 25 times a game by himself, or if we got 2 or 3 guys that will share those carries.
Couple of more thoughts defensively. You got an all-pack or all Big 12. You got to excuse me. I got to get used to this
all the time. Yeah,
right. Yeah. So you've got an all Big 12 performer that's coming back for you. That's going to lead a defense. Your thoughts on the defense for 2020?
Yeah, we feel very good about the defense. We've played good defense for a lot of years here. That's a tradition for us, a trademark of our program. Defensive end might indeed be the most depth position on the football team as far as guys that are ready to play. Secondary, even though we lost 2 really good safeties in Cole Bishop and Sione Vaki, they were both drafted. Cole went to the Bills and Sione went to the Lions, but we'll reload at that position. We got 2 really good linebackers in Karenni Reed, Lander Barton, as well as some good depth behind them. So we feel really positive about the defense, and the numbers really have spoken for themselves through the years. We've put up very good numbers for a lot of years.
2 last thoughts. How tough, obviously you add some teams, yourself included, how tough is the Big 12?
Oh, it's going to be tough, just like any Power 5 conference, Power 4 conference. It's loaded with good football teams. Arizona, Okie State, Texas Tech, the Kansas schools. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's very balanced and reminds me a lot of the Pac-12 in the balance. You know, a lot of conferences these days are top heavy, but not the Big 12. We have good talent from top to bottom, and it's going to be a dogfight. I know a lot of people have chosen us or picked us to in the preseason to win it, but you know, we're I guess you know, grateful for that respect, but doesn't mean anything. Once the games start, you got to go out and play every week, and it's going to be a challenge for us week in and week out.
Last thought, Coach Whittingham, and we appreciate the time. Look, I love smaller colleges. I mean, now you're not necessarily a small college, at least from a conference standpoint, going back to the MWC days. But my goodness, 2008 was a magical season, a really, really good season. One good one for the smaller schools or conferences, if you will. What do you remember most about that undefeated season in 2008?
Yeah, that was a heck of a ride. Brian Johnson, our quarterback, who's in the National Football League now as a coach. He's with the Commanders, but it was a magical season, and it was one of those seasons where I believe we started the same 11 players in the bowl game against Alabama that we started in game one. So we were able to stay healthy, which is a huge key to success. I mean, if you're going to be able to have one of those type of years, you've got to stay healthy, and we were able to do that season. And it was all culminated in the Sugar Bowl in January of 2009 against the Crimson Tide, and ended up with a 13-0 record.
Kyle Whittingham, again in his 20th season as the head football coach at Utah. 31 overall. The Utes opened the season on Thursday, August the 29th against Southern Utah. Coach Whittingham, appreciate the time. Good luck to you and the Utes this season.
Hey, thank you very much. And again, thank you for having me on.